the principal's toupee gets stolen during school. And within minutes, everybody knows, and everybody's joking about it. Dude, Mr. Killman looks so dumb. Kids were whispering in the hallways, even teachers were trying not to laugh. And whenever he walks down the hallway, people pull their phones out to record him. He's humiliated. He's trying to act normal, but he's falling apart like a sad little puppy. And for a second, you almost feel bad for him. But then you remember, yesterday he called you into his office. He thought you were involved in a fight that you weren't involved in. So you're in there, and he's just going in. No, don't you lie to me. I know you were involved in this. You're a horrible student. I knew the second that you got here, you were gonna cause trouble. And I bet your grades suck, don't they? Let's look them up. You know what? I'm not gonna look them up. I'm just gonna send you home to your horrible mom. You know, she was in my class when I taught here years ago, and she was horrible then too. Get out of here. Pretty brutal. And here's one more thing. You know exactly where the toupee is because you saw the kid that stole it. He secretly hid it behind the trophy case. Nobody else knew. And that kid is definitely not coming forward, so now it's only you. You could grab it, hand it back to him, be the bigger man, and maybe the principal will treat you differently, or you could destroy the toupee and let him be humiliated for the rest of the day. What would you do? This school prank lasted for 2 years. It all began at this high school when a single rubber duck appeared in the school's water fountain. And nobody thought much of it. It was just a random duck. Who cares? Until the next day, 2 ducks, then 4, then 10. By the end of that week, there was rubber ducks appearing in every sink, every toilet, and even in students' lockers. Teachers were losing their minds. The principal, she was done. She kept saying on the intercom, "Whoever's responsible for the ducks, speak up now, please." Silence. Nobody confessed. So they gave up. They figured it would eventually sizzle out. But here's the thing, it never stopped. For 2 years, rubber ducks would randomly appear in the craziest of places. Ceiling tiles, inside the vending machines, somehow. One duck even appeared in the vice principal's car. It became a legend till this senior year. It was graduation. The principal was giving her speech when suddenly a banner dropped down. What was on the banner? A single rubber duck. This kid walked to the front of the stage and said, "It was me. It was always me." He was a kid. His mom dragged him to the nearest 7-Eleven. "I don't want to go." "Well, that's too bad." Well, they get there. She goes in the store, but he waits outside. He then sees this older, strange-looking guy sitting against a wall. Hey, want to see something cool? And he's a kid, so he said yes. Of course he wants to see something cool, which you should never do. The man then smiles, and then pulls off a prosthetic leg and showed this kid his leg stump. Look at this. The leg stump had a very weird smiley face drawn on it in Sharpie. The kid absolutely freaks out. "That's not cool." The man then panics because I guess he had good intentions. "Oh, no, wait, look, it's actually cool, look." The kid's now ugly crying. The mom runs out of the store. "What's going on?" "His leg." The man's embarrassed. The mom's freaking out at him. I don't know why he showed the kid his leg stump anyway, but she went home with her kid. And years later, when he sees a 7-Eleven, he freaks out a little bit still. In most classrooms, misbehavior gets you a warning or a detention. Well, back in the 80s, it was something completely different. In this classroom, any deviation from the system, like talking too much or misbehaving, throwing stuff, spitballs, it required a physical debt. "Hey, Kyle, spitball!" The teacher didn't make them sit in a corner or put a goofy hat on. Next to his desk on the floor laid a sheet of coarse sandpaper. One mistake, you had to get up there and kneel down on the sandpaper. And you weren't just kneeling, you were working. You had to stay in that exact position while your knees grinded onto the grit while you had to write massive amounts of words. And what you normally did is there were a list of 30 words, and you had to write each word 10 times. The punishment was designed to make them try to write fast, because the longer you took to write these words, the longer you had to kneel. It's actually incredibly horrifying, and it would completely not fly today. I can't believe that's what they did back then. Eventually, they stopped doing that, thank God. But that teacher never got in trouble because, well, it was the 80s. For some reason, in the middle of class, he pulled out a classical guitar, and he began playing classical guitar music in front of everybody. He was probably trying to show off his guitar skills in front of the students. Well, some kid in the back was whispering during it. "Dude, last weekend was so freaking fun. That squirrel was awesome." Well, Mr. Thorne heard this. It was during the most delicate part of the song. He took a guitar, and he threw it right at this kid. It hit the wall and shattered. The guitar was expensive too, and the teacher just broke it. Everyone was stunned. Mr. Thorne then began to walk to the back of the classroom towards the kid. Mr. Thorne then reached down, grabbed the metal legs of the desk, and flipped the desk with the kid still in it. The kid was now pinned under the desk, and he was crying. The rest of the class still stunned. Mr. Thorne then walked back to the front of the room, looked at everybody and said, "Page 42, now." And he expected everyone was just gonna do it. But no, the kid who was flipped walked out, got the principal came, and Mr. Thorne was fired. And yeah, that makes perfect sense. Top 3 pettiest teachers. Number 3, there was a teacher that gave detention for somebody sneezing twice. The first time it was, bless you. The second time, okay, now you're just messing with me. Detention after school today. It was allergy season too, so for the rest of the week, these kids were fighting for their lives. Well, one day at the end of class, his teacher had a sneezing fit. All right, and oh, Miss Johnson, that's 3 sneezes. I guess that means you're suspended, huh? She never gave someone detention for sneezing again. Number 2, this one teacher right before class started one day moved the clock 10 minutes back just because she wanted to disappoint these kids when they started packing up at what they thought was the end of class. All right, we got a couple minutes left. I'm so hyped for lunch. Why are you boys packing up? Oh, miss, we only got 2 minutes of class left. Somebody check their phone. What the heck? That's right, I tampered with the clock. We have 10 minutes. It's time for group reading. That's just diabolical. Number 1 pettiest teacher. There was a teacher who failed the kid for using blue ink on a test. The problem was, she was the same teacher that lent him the pen. So you see, a kid forgot one. He asked, "Yo, can I borrow something for the test?" "Sure, here you go." She gave him a blue pen. Well, you see, in the syllabus, she had a rule where you weren't allowed to take a test with a blue pen. It had to be black. So he finishes the test, hands it in, and gets a 0. That teacher just wanted him to fail. And that's messed up. I was afraid to fall asleep in class. And this story is exactly why. This person starts by saying that Mr. Vance was a super chill teacher. What's up, class? Let's learn some history. He spent most of class leaning against the wall, talking about history like it was a Bonfire story. Kids loved him. But he also kept a wooden paddle hanging on the wall right next to the whiteboard. No, it wasn't for hitting students. Why'd he have the paddle, you ask? Well, it was for situations like this. One day, this kid named Tyler, he had pulled an all-nighter. He had tons of homework to finish, and no matter how hard he tried to stay awake, he couldn't. The teacher clocked it. He then stopped teaching, went to the paddle, and walked by this kid's desk. And the kids in Tyler's row knew the drill. They all got everything off their desks, and they kind of scooted back. The teacher then took that paddle, and as hard as he possibly could, he smacked it on the desk right next to Tyler. And it was so loud. And Tyler didn't just startle awake. He hopped about 5 feet in the air. The teacher then went right back to teaching. "Hey, stay awake." "All right, class." And boy, is that the worst. Now, my teachers didn't have a paddle, but they would just take their hand and I would never sleep. This teacher was the strictest in the school. No phones, no talking, and absolutely no food. But then one morning, before class, she saw a single flaming hot Cheeto perfectly taped to the middle of her desk. What is this? She peeled the snack off, put it in the garbage, and monitored the room incredibly well that day. Nobody came forward. The next day, another Cheeto, taped with a single piece of Scotch tape on the pencil sharpener. Another one. The next day, another one taped to the back of her chair. The day after that, it was taped to her escape key on her keyboard. What is going on? She had no idea who was doing this, and it was messing with her badly. So she went to the school principal and the people in charge, and they're like, "Okay, settle down, it's just Cheeto, but I'll make an announcement." The principal was young and new, and he was about to make a major mistake. "Good morning, students. Whoever keeps taping single hot Cheetos to things in Mrs. Gable's room, please stop." Uh-oh. He made that announcement to a middle school. What happened next? Dozens of students thought it was hilarious and started doing the exact same thing. There was flamin' hot Cheetos taped everywhere. Library books, school trophy case, the gym scoreboard. So the school tried to kill this joke for Mrs. Gable, but instead they accidentally started a cult, the taped hot Cheeto cult. And there was nothing they could do about it. The only thing that kills a trend is time, and it took some time. They had a substitute teacher, and Henry was sitting in the back of the classroom. He was minding his business. And the substitute came in that day strict for no reason. He scanned the classroom, and he saw Henry in the back. He sees 2 small devices in Henry's ears. "Hey, you! Give me those headphones now." Okay. He didn't argue, he just handed over the devices. The substitute then took these, put it in the drawer, and began teaching. About 10 minutes later, he needed a volunteer. "Okay, one of you come up here. You know what? How about you? In the back. Henry. No response. Since you wanted to listen to music all class, why don't you come up here and help me? Still nothing. He then lost it and walked straight to Henry. Hi, hello? Why are you ignoring me? Oh, you were talking to me? Yes. I'm sorry, I can't understand you, sir. You made me give you my hearing aids. This dude had confiscated Henry's medical necessity, and boy, did he feel stupid about that. Well, why didn't you tell me? I don't know, you seemed real strict about it. He returned the hearing aids right then and there, but he never returned to that school. Yeah, I wouldn't either. There's a big difference between Oak Street and Oak Avenue, and it changed this one kid's life. He was told to meet at this house for a study group. The address was 124 Oak Avenue, but when he put it in his GPS, he put 124 Oak Street, which is a completely different house. Pulled up, they went to the door and he knocked. Oh, you must be one of the neighbor boys. Come on in, this old lady answered. Kid's like, this doesn't seem like my study group. And it wasn't, but he just went along with it. Have a seat, I'm making cookies. Oh, okay. He sits down, she pours him a glass of milk, and he had a bite of a cookie. This is the best cookie I've ever had. Glad you like it. And they sat there for an hour and a half, just chatting. She told him stories about being in school in the 50s and their school dances. He even pulled out his book and studied there for a bit. It was productive, and him and this grandma lady connected. You see, this woman lived alone. Her grandchildren had all graduated and moved out of the town. She was lonely, and this kid's grandma had passed away 2 years ago. So it was like a connection. Are you sure you've had enough food? Yes, it was delicious, and thanks for helping me study. Of course. Come back whenever. And he did. Once a month, he would go over there for cookies and a study session. And he realized this one skate park, everyone called this kid the professor. While the kids from the neighborhood were hitting the ramps, the professor was sitting at the side with a notebook and a pencil. He didn't even own a skateboard. He just sat there measuring the incline of the death gap, a 10-foot jump over the staircase that was very difficult. Degree angle, this one too. Then one day, the best skater in the neighborhood shows up. Let's call him Jackson. He was there to try to clear this death gap and make a name for himself in the neighborhood. I'm the best. I can do it. He tried 5 times. Every time, his board would scuff off and he would fall down. At this point, his elbows were bleeding and he was getting incredibly frustrated. Everyone watching was like, "You're not gonna do it, man. You're still a good skater, though." "Yeah, just give it up, Jackson. I'm gonna clear it." That's when the professor goes up to him. "Hey, dude, you're actually approaching it from a completely different angle. If you hit it right here, just like that, I promise you'll clear the gap." The kid's just trying to help him. But Jackson says, "Shut up, dude, you don't even skate. I'm not gonna listen to you, loser." But Jackson had went over this jump thousands of times in his head. It's been in his notebook for days. He knows the angles. So he grabs Jackson's skateboard. Let me see this. He hops on, goes to the other end of the ramp, and he drops in. He's going. And he clears it. Whoa, he did it! Hey, nice work, man. What the heck? I told you, bro. If you listened to me, you could have had all the glory. But now, it's mine. Come on! Yeah, I'm awesome! The professor went home, and he never returned to that skate park again. And Jackson, that night, cried himself to sleep. And it's all because a $3,000 earring just sank to the bottom of a swimming pool. It was a July heat wave. The water at the public pool was cloudy. The deep end was super deep. Even the lifeguards were afraid. And at the bottom of the pool was now this girl's very expensive earring. Somebody help me, somebody help me. That's when everybody turned to this kid who was sitting in a chair playing with a ladybug. Do something. Do something, bug. You see, they called this kid Gills because every day in the summer he would play in pool water, then he would drink it. Don't ask him, dude, he's super weird. Yeah, but bro, if somebody could do it, it's Gills. Gills never used goggles. He said he could sense his surroundings through his fingertips. So they asked him, "Hey Gills, yeah, bro, we need your help, man. That girl lost a $3,000 earring. It's at the bottom of the deep end." And Gills did not hesitate. "I'm on it." He dives right in. 1 minute passed, then 2. The snack bar worker paused the music. The crowd went dead silent. Everyone was waiting for Gills' lifeless body to float to the surface. When suddenly, a hand comes right out of the water, holding the earring. Oh my God. "Here's your earring. I also found a hot dog down there. Free food. He ate the hot dog and sat back down with the ladybug. That day, the nickname Gills stopped being an insult. He was kind of a legend. And it all started because this school banned caffeine. But the no caffeine policy was failing. Every trash can was a graveyard for energy drink cans. But there were too many kids blatantly not following the no caffeine rule, so they couldn't punish everybody. So the next Monday morning, the dean announced that they have installed molecular sensors in the HVAC vents. And don't bother with Gatorade cans or cups. These sensors pick up the scents of taurine, caffeine, so if you crack a can, we will know. Now, obviously the dean was lying. That's not a thing. And a lot of kids knew that, but some kids were super gullible. So this worked for a few days. The hallways were silent and the bins were empty. No mountain of cans. But the students, they figured out how to blind the sensors. Now, this big group of students weren't the smartest, but here's what they came up with. Every time a student opened an energy drink or was sipping caffeine, 4 others would blast the nearest vent with Axe body spray. Cracking now? Spray, boys, spray! They figured if you overloaded the sensors with fragrance, they wouldn't catch the scent of caffeine. Now, like I said, the sensors were a lie, but now there was a real issue with school air quality. Halfway through the day, there was so much Axe body spray filtering through all the vents that it was unbreathable. They had to evacuate the school. Students, everybody please evacuate the building. We have a major air quality issue. God, this is ridiculous. The school was shut down for 48 hours. Now, this was at some school in a small town, so I guess that makes a bit more sense. But still, that's nuts. The locker room at this one school was built on a limestone creek, but nobody cared about the foundation. One day, this kid named Mike was running late to gym class, and he was the only one in the locker room because everybody else was in the gym. He was sitting on a bench, tying his shoe. What is that noise? He hears a strange noise coming from the floor, so he stood up, and he felt the ground kind of dip. He realized the floor definitely didn't look right. So when he goes to the gym, he tells the PE teacher, "Coach, I think the floor in the locker room is moving and it made a loud noise." But the coach did not care. "Oh, you scared of the floorboards now, Mike? The floor isn't moving, you're going crazy." Now everyone's laughing at him. You know what, actually? Get down and give me 20 push-ups right now. So now, middle of the gym, everyone's standing around Mike as he's doing push-ups. Mike's afraid of the floor, isn't that right, coach? Shut up, Billy. At the end of the push-ups, Mike stands up. The coach gives one last word. So from now on, stop being so frickin' soft and get to gym on time. But right as he said that, a loud crash was heard throughout the entire school. They go to the locker room. "Oh, look, coach." The floor had collapsed. There was a 5-foot wide hole, and the lockers had fallen in it. It was a frickin' sinkhole. Mike was right. "I think Mike was right, coach. You got something to say to me, coach?" Yeah. "Everyone evacuate the locker room." And he never apologized to Mike. But it all started because this kid, let's call him Steven. He spent an entire year saving up. We're talking birthday money, pulling weeds, every $5 bill he could find. He didn't use that money to buy games or food or candy or nothing. He bought a gallon of slate gray paint, some shelves, a desk, and some other things. He spent his entire spring break sanding the floors of his room, painting the walls, setting up his desk and his computer, all by himself. By the time he was done, he had the best room in the entire house. I did it. Steven then went to a 3-day science camp. Well, on Sunday, when it was over, he gets dropped off back at his house, and he enters through the garage. And in the garage, he sees it. His desk, his bed, his shelves, just sitting there in the middle of the garage. What is going on? So he sprints upstairs. Well, the door to his room is locked, and he hears music coming from it. Well, his sister finally opens it. The gray paint was gone. It had been covered in a cheap coat of white, and his sister's ring light was right by the window. Her bed was there, with pink bedding. It was completely different. That's when his dad came out. "Oh yeah, son, by the way, we moved your stuff out of your room. We figured your sister could have a better use for it." You see, his sister was a wannabe TikTok content creator, and he said her content was suffering because her old room had no natural light. And since Steven fixed up the room so nicely, it was the perfect studio for her. "Where am I supposed to go?" "Well, your stuff's in the garage, son. Why don't you go build something in there?" He spent his own money to renovate a room that he wasn't even allowed to keep. Another instance of horrible parents. "You must clean the dish before you put it in the dishwasher." What? Kenny's mom had this incredibly specific belief that the dishwasher was only meant for sanitizing, not cleaning. If you put a plate in there with a smear of sauce on it, she would pull each and every dish out of there, give you a lecture, and make you wash every dish before you put it back in. "Kenny, look at this. a smudge of barbecue sauce. Take these all out, rewash them, and put them in the dishwasher. Kenny spent 45 minutes every single night scrubbing clean plates and cups before putting it in the machine. He'd be there scrubbing, looking at it. Mom, it's literally called the dishwasher. Can't we just start putting them in there and that's it? No, Kenny. He does this for years. Scrub dish, put dish in dishwasher, dishwasher run, dish done. One day he goes to his friend Steve's house. They have dinner there. His mom takes all these greasy, messy, nasty plates and puts them directly in the dishwasher. Huh, so Steve, your mom just puts them in the dishwasher? Yeah, it's a dishwasher, Kenny. It washes the dishes. Bruh. Kenny then realized he spent years doing a pointless task because of his mom's OCD. Mom, Steve's dishwasher cleans their dishes just fine. Yeah, well, Steve's family probably shares a shower towel, so jeez. Most kids start a lemonade stand to make some extra cash, but Dax was playing a much darker game. He opened a barber shop in his garage, and even though his fades were terrible, every kid was lining up for a $5 buzz cut. Step up, who's next? It was like the social event of the summer. Everybody was hanging out, listening to music, laughing at how bad the haircuts were. Boy, you look goofy. What? But Miles noticed something weird. After every haircut, Dax was picking up some of the hair and putting it in a Ziploc bag. Huh. Once the day was over, Dax had cut like 15 people's hair. Miles stuck around and asked him, "Bro, why were you putting your hair in bags? Hey, check this out." He brought him to a shelf, and on that shelf was hundreds of Ziploc bags. Each of them had hair in it, and each of them were labeled. This is Miles from August 12th. This one is Cooper from July 4th. Look at all of these. I have the genetic blueprint of the entire 8th grade right here, labeled and dated. Miles just laughed. "Bro, you're weird." But Dax leaned in. "Everybody thinks I'm a bad barber," which is true, but they don't realize I got a much bigger plan. Next time someone does me dirty, steals my seat at lunch, makes fun of me, I'm gonna find a crime scene anywhere, and I'm gonna drop their hair right in the middle of it. What? Let's say Miles calls me a loser. Well, I hear sirens. I follow the sirens. A crime scene. There was a murder. Miles goes right on the floor. The police. "Whose hair is this?" They go to the computer. It's Miles. Miles goes to prison for murder. Bro, that is so messed up. And it was. And obviously, that really wouldn't work. But Miles made sure to stay Dax's friend, just in case. He would hate for some of his hair to end up at a crime scene. Nothing is worse than being grounded in the last week of summer. Ryan's entire friend group had been together since kindergarten. But tomorrow, more than half of them were going to a different high school, so they were going to be split up. And this night was their last hurrah. It was the goodbye. But Ryan's mom didn't care about this. She cared that Ryan forgot to take the trash out on Wednesday. "I don't care if it's an end of an era, Ryan. You showed lack of responsibility. You are not going to that bonfire." The bonfire was the event, across town at one of the buddies' houses. So that night, Ryan sat at his window, watching the group chat blow up with pictures of s'mores, the bonfire, smiling and laughing faces. It was the night his childhood was ending. He thought it was over, until he hears people talking outside of his house. Huh? What? He looks out and he sees Cam and his entire group of friends pulling lawn chairs out of Cam's dad's truck. "All right, guys, grab them all. I got mine." "Yeah, me too." They set up a portable grill in Ryan's driveway. They all sat around it, and they began roasting marshmallows. "What are you guys doing? If you can't come to the fire, we're bringing the fire to you." So Ryan goes down there, and he joins them. Not long after, his mom comes out, and she's angry. But just as she's about to snap, a minivan pulls up, and one of the kids' parents comes out. They're not there to pick up the kid. They're there to join. "Oh, hey, Carla. Steven said that you were having a bonfire in the driveway. We're here to join you." So, to not look like a horrible mother, she just said, yeah, grab a seat. I'll go get some drinks for us." And just like that, 10 kids, 6 parents, and a golden retriever all hanging out in her driveway. And she realized she wasn't just about to be a strict mom. She was about to be the person that ruined these kids' summer. The last one they'll get like this. The night ended, the kids said their goodbyes, they went their separate ways. And that just proves it. When the group is strong enough, not even the grounding of the century could stop the party. Most teachers use seating charts to help keep the peace, but Mr. Miller used his in a different way. For the first month, Miller studied the room. He figured out exactly who was best friends and who couldn't stand each other. Then he released a mandatory seating chart. "Okay, everybody, this seating chart is law, unless somebody has an offer." That's when he introduced the daily waiver. For the price of a premium snack, and a cold drink, one student per day could buy their way into the seat right next to their friend. But that's the catch. He only did one trade per class. And it was actually kind of fun. The students loved this. Every morning it was like an auction, so he has to pick out the best of the snacks. I have Takis and a Capri Sun. Nah. I have milk and tuna. No, I got Airhead sour strips and an orange crush. Deal. And that's what he did the entire year. The kids thought it was pretty awesome, so in turn, they respected him, and the behavior was pretty good. The principal thought he was a genius, and Mr. Miller always had the best snacks. Every school had a dead zone, a room in the basement or a locked corner of the gym where chairs and desks go to die. Most people see a pile of trash, but to Mr. Henderson, it was a gold mine. The school budget for furniture was pretty much zero. If a chair leg snapped or the top of a desk cracked, it wasn't getting replaced. So for a decade, the chair graveyard grew. They see a mess, but I see a spare heart for the chair in room 203. Mr. Henderson didn't just guard the room. He was pretty much a furniture surgeon. He had a specific system. When one chair broke, he knew which piece to grab from the graveyard. He was swapping around parts like he was Frankenstein. See, this one can be saved, but this one's too far gone. Except that leg is looking pretty nice. I'll take this and I'll put it here. It's fixed. Well, the legend started when a group of 10th graders tried to steal a few chairs. So they go into this graveyard. Quick, grab one. So they tried to grab a few chairs, but this is when it happened. They pulled out one chair and the entire mountain collapsed right onto them. And Mr. Henderson was in the corner of the room watching. Well, boys. Trying to steal my stash? He obviously helped them up and gave them a few band-aids for their scrapes. And the punishment for breaking into the room and trying to steal the chairs, they had to reorganize it and stack everything back up perfectly. You gotta love Mr. Henderson. My home office has a window, and it directly faces my neighbor's living room window, 3 feet away. That was Toby. And for 6 months, Toby has not worked a single day without being watched. Every morning at 9 a.m. as Toby's sitting down at his desk to begin his work from home assignments, a tabby cat named Barnaby would take his position in his neighbor's living room windowsill, directly across from Toby. And the cat wouldn't sleep. He would just stare at Toby, right in his eyes, every day. It kind of creeped him out. It was this cat's routine. Well, by month 3, Toby kind of snapped. He decided if the cat wanted a show, he was gonna give him a show. It started with Toby finding a video titled Video for Cats, and he turned it around and faced it right towards Barnaby. Well, Barnaby wasn't impressed. The next day, Tony danced for Barnaby. It wasn't good, but he danced. Barnaby perked up. You could tell he was responding to this. Well, the next day he put on a puppet show. I'm a puppet. Me too! Oh look, there's a cat. Now I also want to mention that Barnaby was an indoor-outdoor cat. One night as Toby was going to the store, he opens his front door and he sees a dead mouse sitting there on his porch. He got rid of the mouse, but every day after that, he kept receiving more and more items. A neighbor's gardening glove, a Hanes sock, a literal $1 bill. So he installed a camera doorbell to see what was going on, and he found the culprit. It was Barnaby, leaving gifts for Toby every night. It was like he was paying him for this entertainment he's been receiving. And ever since that day, Toby and Barnaby were best friends. Barnaby always sat in that opposite windowsill. Toby was always at his desk working, until one day Barnaby wasn't there. Toby was concerned. The next day, again, Barnaby, nowhere to be seen. So he goes over to his neighbor's house, knocks on the door. Barnaby had passed away. And Toby was heartbroken. Rest in peace, Barnaby. The school banned dodgeball because it was way too violent. Parents were complaining that their kids were getting hurt. So the gym teacher came up with a brand new game, a safer game. It's called complimentary catch. Everyone sits in a circle and tosses a foam ball around. When the ball gets to you, you have to give somebody else in the circle a compliment. Billy, I like your nose. The students gave it a shot, but eventually they were like, this is the dumbest thing ever. They lasted about 1 week until they had enough. One kid gathered some people. Guys, we're not doing this anymore. He rallied the entire grade to skip gym class the next day. And word spread like wildfire through the hallways. When gym period rolled around, not a single student showed up. All right, who's ready for some compliments? Where is everyone? At that very moment, practically every single student in the grade was out in the back field. They split into 2 massive teams, and they brought out all the dodgeballs. And they started the biggest, dodgeball war that school had ever seen. It was beautiful. Kids were diving, dodging, launching balls from every direction. The principal and every single teacher made their way outside to see what was going on. And there's like 150 kids playing a huge game of dodgeball in rebellion. Everyone tried to blow their whistle. They tried to break this game up, but they couldn't. The dodgeball game lasted for an hour and a half. When it finally ended, the students just walked back inside, and they accepted whatever punishment came their way. Next week, dodgeball was reintroduced back into gym time. That's crazy. This kid got his invisibility cloak stolen. There was this one kid at this one school who wore a neon construction vest every day. It wasn't for hunting. He thought it made him invisible. One day he's walking through the hallway wearing the vest like usual, and this bigger kid just rips it off of him. Now, you see, usually most people let this kid vibe because obviously he knew it didn't make him invisible, but it made him feel better. But anyway, so it was stolen off his back, and he felt like he had been exposed to the world for the first time. He won't move. Kids are walking around him. He's legitimately stuck because in his mind, without that vest, he is visible and vulnerable. So this one janitor sees what's going on. He walks straight up to this bully. Hey! Holds out his hand. The bully tries to laugh it off, but this janitor doesn't blink. He just stares him down until the bully gives the vest back. The janitor hands it back to the kid. The kid puts it on and walks away. And just like that, he was invisible once again.
ফোন দিয়ে যেতেছি তুমি ফোনই ধরো না, তোমার ফোন ধরার কোনো নামই নাই, কোনো কথা, তোমার ফোন ধরো না কেন?
এবারে এক্সামের প্রিপারেশন কিরকম তোদের? আমি তো খুবই এক্সাইটেড কারণ আমার প্রিপারেশন খুবই ভালো।
জিসান দরজা খোল।
কি বুঝতেছি না। সুন্দর মতো যাবি, ভাবির নামটা জিজ্ঞাসি। আর শোন, ভালো মতো কথা কবে, ভাবি লাগে। খালি থাপড় আর চাপাবাজি, থাপড় আর চাপাবাজি, এই বাদে আর কিছু পারছস?
বুকিং?
বুকিং মানে বুকিং, তুমি আমার আমি তোমার, বুকিং দিয়ে দিছি, ফাইনাল।
আমাকে বুকিং দিছে মানে আমাকে কে বুকিং দিছে দোস্ত?
তোর যে আশিক আছে না, এখন তো আমার পিছনে লাগছে।
এই এই দুলাভাই সামনে থাকলে যে সালাম দিতে হয়, আপনি শিখাই না তোরা? কেমন আছো তুমি?
ভালো।
আমাকে জিজ্ঞেস করবো না রক্তটা দিবি তুই? আমি কেন রক্ত দেবো? প্রেম খরচ তুই, রক্ত। আমার বন্ধু জিসান আপনাকে অনেক ভালোবাসে ভাবি, আপনার ওর রক্ত যাওয়াটা বিধা হতে দিবেন না ভাবি। তাই তো কেন ফোন যায় না? তোমার নাম্বারটা তাড়াতাড়ি করে বলো।
ঘন্টার পর তো গার্লফ্রেন্ডের লাগে ওয়েট করতে পারো, আর বন্ধুর লাগে 2 মিনিট ওয়েট করতে পারবা না?
ও এখন আমার দোস্ত, তাইলে তো বন্ধু রিত লেগে গেল।
আরে বেটা এত লাফাইস না, যেরকম শুনতেছি পরীর মতো এরকম করলে তো বেটা।
ভাব দে, কালকে 4টা দেখা হবে।
ঠিক আছে মামা।
ঠিক আছে মামা,
ঠিক মতো যা।
হালা পারলাম না রে।
তোর তো হাওয়াটা হয়ে গেল। তুলি, তুই তো সুন্দর নাম। আরে শুন, আমি জিসান, আই লাভ ইউ।
আপনাদের তো চিনলাম না। আমার বড় বোনের যে দেবরগুলো আছেন তো সবাইকেই চিনি, বাট আপনাদেরকে তো চিনি না।
যাইতে দে, আর আমার খালা লাগে। কোথায় বলটা? ভালোবাসা যে এত প্যারা, এত কষ্ট, এত জ্বালা যন্ত্রণা, জানলে ভালোই বাসতাম। জিসান আর তুলির ভালোবাসার ইতিহাস, তাই রক্ত লাগবে।
আসসালামু আলাইকুম দুলা ভাই।
আরে শালা, ওয়ালাইকুম আসসালাম। কি খবর, কেমন আছো? বান্ধবীও তো যায় না, এতবার ফোন দিলাম ফোনও ধরতেছে না। তুমি একটা ফোন দাও তো, ফোন বের করো।
কি বলেন দুলা ভাই, ও যায় নাই? কথা হইছে, ভাইয়া বলছে যে ভাইয়া আমাদের কোচিং এর সামনে আর আসবে না, আর তোকে ডিস্টার্বও করবে না।
জানো না? কারণ না আমি 1 থেকে 3 গুনবো না বাবা, প্রেম হইলেই হবে, প্রেম হইলে এমনি ডিফারেন্স হবে বাবা, আমার খালি ওরে দরকার।
তুমি বাসে আসার পর থেকে আমাকে বাসে শান্তি সব চলে লাগেছে।
হায় হায়, খাইছে কুচোটা কি তুমি?
তুমি একটা ভিডিও কল করে পাঠাও প্লিজ প্লিজ। কবে আমগো দেখা
কোচিনটা কি এটা আবার লগে এমন চিপা মাইটা দিয়েছেন? কেমন ঠান্ডান বউ?
তারপর তো ভয় কাঁচে মুচু খায়া গেছে গা, তারপর আবার দুর্নাম করতে হইব। এই তোর কি তোর দামি ফোন
আইসে বাবজান, রাইতে ঠিকঠাক মতো ঘুমাইছে তো নাকি বাসায় গিয়া আব্বাজান রে কইবেন?
কি করছো যে এটা তুই বাজার রে বাজার যাও চুইছে আজকাই করছে
সম্মান সব পাঞ্চার করে দিছে।
মাগার দোষ আমারও আছে, আমি একটু বেশি বাড়াবাড়ি করে ফেলছি। চলো না আমরা বাড়িতে ফিরে যাই।
তুমি কি পাগল হয়ে গেছো নি? এইটাই আমার বাড়ি এখনতে।
চৌধুরী সাহেবের সাথে আমি কি কথা কইছি? তুমি কোনো কথাই কই নাই কে? সাজান তোমারে কইলো এত
দিচ্ছেন, হ্যাঁ দিচ্ছেন না? এলা বাইরন, আমার বাড়িতে বাইরন।
একটা হাসা করছেন আব্বাজান, আপনার পোলার এই বাড়ি থাকার কোনো বিতলামি করলে আমি তোরা ঘাড়াই, কিন্তু ভাবলাম আপনাকে একমাত্র পোলা গাড়াইলে আবার দিলে চোট পাই।
তুমি
শোনো, তোমাগো খানদানে যেমন কিছু নিয়ম আছে আমাগো খানদানেও আছে।
এইসব ফাত্রা নিয়ম কেউ যেন জানবার না পারে, মনে থাকবো তো? তোর যে নতুন বাবি